Hi, I'm Bruce Thompson. I'm Vice President of Sampson Insurance. I'm one of the owners of the agency, and I'm involved with business owners every day. One of the problems that we see in the insurance industry is people make some assumptions of some things that are covered that aren't. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about today is employment practice liability, or EPLI. That's the acronym for employment practice liability. So what we're talking about there are claims brought against an employer by an employee, either current or former, for things such as wrongful termination, failure to promote, sexual harassment, breach of contract, discriminatory practices in the workplace. A good example is someone is not hired, they feel like they were adequately, more than adequately qualified, yet somebody got the job above them, or somebody else picked up that job, and it was, they feel, because of the fact that it was because of their race or their gender. So one thing that we really want to make sure that employers understand is employment practice liability takes care of those kind of problems. The marketplace for employment practice liability has grown dramatically, as have the number of claims. And one of the things we looked at in 2013, there was just shy of 100,000 claims brought nationally for employment practice liability, employees versus employers. Huge number. The prior year, that number was 93,000, so it's up about 7%. We're seeing that trend continue. So it's an important coverage. It's important to understand for the employers that this is not covered by a general liability policy. You need your own, and again, you need your own employment practice liability to take care of that. So the acts, I talked about them a little bit earlier: wrongful termination, failure to promote, sexual harassment, and alike. Important component of this is defense, and I'll underline that twice. The obligation, if you have an employment practice liability policy in place, the obligation the insurance company has is to defend you. Even if that claim has no merit, it's thrown out. Nonetheless, the insurance company has an obligation to defend the policyholder even if the claim has no merit. We see in Massachusetts some of these claims are $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 just to defend them. MCAD, that's the Mass Commission Against Discrimination. That's the governing body that hears these claims in Massachusetts. There are other states that have other jurisdictions, but they are the body, if you will, the state organization that hears claims employees versus employers. So that's the governing body that gets involved with these kinds of things. The process is the final thing I wanted to talk about today, and that's really the application process. What do you need to be able to look at this coverage? Well, there are multiple companies out there. We can access 6, 7, 8 companies, depending on the type of client, what they do, what their turnover ratio is. But generally speaking, what happens is there's an application that gets completed, and the kind of things that are asked on that is what kind of people have left. In other words, what's the involuntary turnover that you've been involved with as a business over the last couple of years. Those situations where you've had to let an employee go for cause, not because someone moved to Florida. You've let people go for cause. They want to know that. They want to know that you have an employment manual in place, that you can handle some of these grievances without the policy having to respond. They want to make sure you've got a statement of Massachusetts that's been required for a long time, that there's a sexual discrimination statute and employer notice. They want to make sure that all those things are in place. So given all that and working through the process, we provide employment practice liability for a variety of clients with a lot of different companies. We've seen this coverage for a number of years now. We've seen it evolve, and our message to you is to make sure that understand, A, it's not covered under your general liability policy, and B, the marketplace for it is quite broad, and we would love to talk to you and see how we can help. We hope to hear from you. We'd love to be of service to you. Check us out at www.sampsonins.com.